with Mr. E, and this video is the first of two to help you design your own and draw in Fusion 360 and then laser cut out some Christmas decorations. Now I've got a couple here that I've made. I've got a star there, I've got a snowflake, which you can kind of see there. I'll bring them closer to the camera so you can see me better. So a star and a snowflake there. Alright, these are the sorts of things we're talking about designing using Fusion 360 to be cut out of acrylic, or in this case plywood. There's another star there that I'll show you as well. Now these sorts of Christmas decorations are really easy to do in Fusion 360. We've got one that's a 6-point star, one that's a 5-point star. Need a little bit of mass there, and we'll talk about that in a minute once we get logged into Fusion. But as you can see here, I've opened up Fusion 360 on my computer and it's not logged in at the moment. That's the icon just down the bottom there on the toolbar. Alright. On your computer it should be on your desktop. And when you first start it up, you'll need to sign in. Now if you haven't signed into Fusion before, you can click Create Account, alright, and use your school email to create your own account. We'll talk about why you need to do that in a minute. I'm just going to pause the video here so that I can log in. I've logged in to Fusion 360 now. And this is what you'll be greeted with when you first use it. You might get a dialog box come up in the right hand corner here, which you can have a look at. That's just to do with some basic settings when you first start using Fusion, but it's not particularly important. First things I want to talk about are two different things. Firstly, up the top here we have the tool ribbon, okay? And the tool ribbon of Fusion 360 has all the different tools we might want to use for sketching, making things 3D, modifying things as we make them, assembling things if we've got multiple parts. We can measure things, we can make different planes. There's all sorts of stuff we can do here. And we're not going to go into very much of this, we're just having a little go with Fusion 360 at this point. The very left hand side here we've got different interfaces, so that's the modelling interface that we're in now. We've got all sorts of other ones: patch, sheet metal, rendering, animations, simulations, CAM for cutting out things from using machine, and making drawings from our particular designs. Now we're not going to go into any of that, we're just looking at model today. So the other important thing here is the browser. Now that's this menu here, and within this we're going to see different steps of what we're doing come up, and those steps will also come up along this part down the bottom of the screen, which is called the timeline. So we'll be able to see what things we've done in making our particular item. Finally, at the very top left here, we've got the data panel. This is where all our files get stored. So you can see in my first project, I've got various things that I've drawn up. Now you guys will end up with at least one thing in here very soon, but we need to actually start drawing them before we end up with them in here. So to start with, we're just going to close that off. We are going to start a new sketch. So up in the sketch toolbar area, we've got create sketch. And as it says there, creates a sketch on the selected plane or planar face. So we're going to select a plane to start our first sketch for our star on. I'm going to select this plane. This is what we call the XY plane, because we have the X axis running along here and the Y axis running up here. We could also work on the YZ plane, which is this side, or the XZ plane, which is the bottom. We're going to work on this one here, so I'll just click on that. And you can see I have what looks like a grid in maths up on the screen there. And to a degree, what we're doing is maths. We're telling the computer to put lines in that respond to mathematical positions. Not that we're going to really get too deep into that. The first thing I'd like you to do in drawing up your own decoration is in the sketch palette here, we want to pick under rectangle, center rectangle. We're going to select the center point and we're going to pull out till we get something that is 100, and I'm typing it in here. You could also do this. So I've typed 100, it's come up in the first box on the left hand side of the rectangle, so I'll do that again. I'm now going to hit tab on my keyboard and type 100 again. Alright, you can see I've got a lock in that first box. I'll hit enter on my keyboard and I have a 100 by 100 square. So I need to fit my decoration within that area. Now I think the first one which I'll do today is a snowflake. Alright, we're going to do a simple snowflake, something like this on the screen. Now this isn't a particularly tricky one to do. One of the things we do need to think about is how we actually start this off. Now as all of the sides of this snowflake are the same, all we need to do is do 1/6 of that snowflake in this case. I could make it, more little portions, but I'm going to do mine at 6. Alright, the snowflake itself, like with any snow object, it's rotating around that middle point. So we're going to use what's called a pattern, a circular pattern very soon. So to start off with, I need to divide 360 degrees, which is the full circle, into a 1/6. And if I do that, I get the following. 60 degrees. So that's where I need to start. So on my screen here, I'm going to start by giving myself 2 lines which start me off. So one straight up, right, which will be 50 millimeters long, and I've just selected the line tool from up here on the sketch palette. Right, then I'm going to add a second line, which again is 50 millimeters long. I'll type 50 in and press enter. Alright, and that's off to one side. Now at the moment I don't have it angled correctly to my first line for that 60 degrees, so I'm going to do that. To do that, I'll go up to the sketch menu here, come down to sketch dimension, select the first line, select the second line, and type in 60. And there we go, I have my 60 degree area there. Now to make this easier for you guys to understand, I am going to delete this initial rectangle, so I don't actually want that anymore. See if it'll let me. I'll just delete parts of it. There we go. I'm just going to go through and delete each of these parts so that I can go through and show you without that in the way. So there we go. So what I've started with so far is my initial area where I'm going to start drawing part of my snowflake, like that one there. So next I'm going to start adding in some lines. So using my line tool, I'm going to start off by creating the basic shape here. So rather than 5 millimeters out, I think I'll go 2 millimeters straight out like that. Now I'm going to make a line come down almost to the middle, somewhere there. In fact, I'll just bring it all the way to here. Doesn't really matter too much. Alright, I'm going to do the same. And I'm just pressing L on my keyboard to get the line tool now. I'm going to do the same out from this point, so at 90 degrees by 2. Alright, and then back in towards the center there, and this time I'm going to stop on the line because it'll join me up with it. There we go. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see that. Now you can see I've got this extra little bit of line here which I don't actually need. So to get rid of that, I'm going to click on this sketch tool palette and I'm going to find the trim tool, which is just here. I'm going to select the extra bits of the line that I don't need to get rid of them. Okay, so I've got probably the 2 out sticky middle parts of this so far. Alright, so I'm going to draw some extra parts of my snowflake in here. So I think I'll go out at a bit of an angle here and then back in again. So there's part of my snowflake. Maybe I'll add in something like this to join those parts up. Same out this way. And mine might end up being some different sorts of shapes that don't exactly match up, and that's fine. I'm just having a go. I'm not looking for perfection at all here, just having a bit of a play to draw some sort of shape. There we go, that'll do. Come out like that, I think. And we'll go back in. There we go. Maybe I'll add something in the middle here as well. Another one over here. So mine's far from perfect, as you can see. But I've got a bunch of different things there that are going to make up my snowflake now. Now if I wanted to make this look even neater, I could do just 1/2 of this snowflake and then I could mirror it and then I could rotate it around. So I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But firstly, we're just going to turn this into a snowflake now. So in the sketch palette here, I'm going to select circular pattern. I'm going to go and select all of this like that. So I'm going to select everything I've drawn so far. Select my center point, which is in the middle. And, it's not letting me select that. Probably because I've already selected it. Let's try that again. So all the different lines here, I'm going to select at this point. So rather than selecting the center point as well, just all the different lines of what I have drawn. Zoom in a bit there to get that one. Come back for that one. So all these around the outside. Slowly getting there. Lots to click on my design here. This one here and last one there, and I think I missed one at the top. Yep. There we go. Now I'll select my center point, which is this one here. And you can see I've got 3 in there. What I would like is 6, so I'm going to type 6 in. Press OK. And there we have it. I have essentially my snowflake. Now there is some issues with this. If I was to cut this out as it is now, because I have so many different lines, it would cut along all these lines in here, and the whole thing would probably fall apart. So before I actually rotate that around, I do need to, and do that step I just did, I probably do need to trim out some parts so that I don't actually end up cutting all sorts of things out in the wrong way. So I'm just going to hit Control Z on my keyboard and show you that step as well. So going back to that trim tool I used before, I'm going to get rid of some lines. So these 2 here I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to get rid of the little ones that attach at the back of these parts of my snowflake. So I want those ones. I don't want these ones here. I definitely don't want that one there, or that one there. In my case, I think I will keep some of these. I'm just trying to figure out which ones. I don't want those 2 there. And I do want those ones, but I don't want these 2 in here either. So it doesn't look like I've left much there, but when we rotate it, you'll see that it works out okay. So I'll do that patterning thing that I did before again. So back to the circular pattern. Again, I'm going to select all those lines, do as quickly as I can for you. There you go, selecting all of them. Oh, last little one up there. Those ones there. Okay, and I'm going to do that center point. Pick the center point again, and I'll make 6 of those. And click OK. And there we go. So you can see I've got my snowflake now. But unlike before where I had lines through the middle of some of these, I don't anymore. I only have the areas that I actually want to cut. So I'll have holes here, and I'll have the overall outside shape there. So that's my first snowflake. So that was pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you a star now as well. And again, we'll repeat the process. Now, if you'd like to stop watching here, you definitely can. And you can continue on with making your own. If you want to continue watching me do a star, you can also do that. So I'll start over now. I'm just going to exit this by clicking Stop Sketch. And I'm going to create a new sketch. In this case on a different plane, and I'm going to hide the sketch I had before so I don't see it. So I'm trying again now to do, in this case I'll do a 5-point star like this one, something like that one there. Alright, this one I'm going to do a little differently. Rather than doing the whole top point there, which I could do, because it might be a bit hard to get both sides symmetrical, so probably what I'll do instead of doing the whole point, so you can see, there you go. Instead of doing the whole point, I'll probably go and do half of one of those points before I pattern it. So I know that each of the points on my 5-point star need to be 72 degrees. So I'm going to add a couple of lines in to help me do that. I'll come up by 50 millimeters for the first one, and I'll click my line tool again and go out by 50 millimeters in this direction. So type in 50. Now I'm going to put an angle between those 2 lines. So clicking Sketch, clicking Dimension here at the bottom of the Sketch menu. And I need half of 72, which is 36. So I'll type in 36, and there we go. So that's half of one of my points needs to be within that space. So looking at that now, I'm going to start by drawing an angle down to here, I think. I might try and make this a bit of a skinnier point on my stars this time. So something like that. I'm not going to need this whole line up here, but we'll show you what to do with that very soon. So again, grab my line tool, and I think I'm going to add in some little sections in here that I want to get cut out. So I'll bring it down from there, probably about to there, then maybe I'll come up to here, and come all the way back up there. So I've got one little section there. I'm going to add another one in here, probably might start at about there. Trying to keep my angles kind of similar, and I'm not really trying to make them perfect at all at this point. I'm just letting the computer tell me where to put things really, because it can figure out most of what I'm doing on its own. I've got some pretty weird little shapes going on in here. That's okay, they'll get cut out just fine by the laser cutter. Struggling to find where I want to put it in the middle here, so I'm going to try and put it there-ish, I think. And I might come down all the way to there, a bit further. I want those two to be parallel, so I've got to come all the way down to here somewhere. And then I think I'll come out to here, up there, in a bit, and then back up. And I'll do maybe two more shapes down here as well. Like that. One more. There we go. So I've drawn most of what I want, like half of the point of my star to look like. Now, there are some lines that I don't need in here now, so I'm going to get rid of them using the trim tool. So I'm going to trim away that part there, this part here, and this part here, and I'll explain why. So when we use the pattern tool, we only want what we actually want to cut out, like we talked about prior. So we want this line here, and we want all these pieces to get cut out, but that's it. So I'm going to select all of that, not the center point. Select the center point, and in this case I want more than 3. Because it's 5, I actually want 10, because it's half a point. Now, you can see I've got a bit of a problem here. While it's made a pretty cool looking snowflakey star thing, I'm missing a line. So I could add that line back in and try this again, or, to make sure this works properly, I've actually got to mirror this part here. So I'm going to go Sketch, and I believe I have a mirror tool in here. I'm going to select my mirror line. Hopefully it'll let me select the center point. No, it doesn't. I need to put in a line to mirror around, so I'll put that line back in. Let's try this again. So using the mirror tool, I'm going to mirror all of this stuff here. That's right, around my mirror line, which is in the middle. There we go, click OK. I am going to trim out that middle line, so I'll just delete that. Now I can go and circular pattern that again. So selecting everything there, selecting the center point, and this time I only need to do 5. And there we go, I'll click OK. And there's the star that I'm going to get cut out. So this is the one that will turn into the one that I'm actually going to cut out now. So we're just going to click Stop Sketch at this point, because we don't need to change anything more about it, and we'll leave it like that. And in the next video I'll show you how to take that finished Christmas decoration. Actually, it's not quite finished, sorry. We've just got to add a hole up the top here. So the last thing I'll do, I'll just go back into that sketch. So I'll right click it and say Edit Sketch. I'm going to add a little circle, use a center diameter circle out of the sketch palette there. And I'm going to click in the middle here and I'll probably make it a 2.5 millimeter circle. Hit enter, there we go. And now I can hit Stop Sketch, because I've actually got something to put the string through when I want to hang it up on my tree. So there we go, there's my decoration for this point. We will go to the next video now, and you'll be able to see how to move this into Adobe Illustrator, so that you can make it ready to be cut out. Thanks for watching, head over to the next video.